Did you know?
I've had the opportunity to be in on a lot of conversations with a lot of people who have experience in the facts of these sort of issues, not just in our community but in others. And the more that I participated in that discussion, the more that I really felt it was important to get those people with past experience, not just speculative experience, but people who have actually been there, done that. It's important to get them in touch with the people of our community so that we have the opportunity to make decisions and develop opinions based on valid information, not just on speculation, not just on could-be's, not just on what I think, but on what is. And so I really appreciate so many of you coming out today, and what we've tried to do is we've tried to line up a group of speakers here that do have that kind of past experience. And what I've asked every one of the speakers to do is, I don't want this to be a speculative meeting. What I want people to talk about, what I've invited these speakers to share, isn't what could be, but what is, what has been, what their experience has been in other areas. And so once we have firm understanding of how other communities have faced the similar issues to that which we're facing here with the potential of the relocation or the enhancement of our airport, perhaps then we can develop appropriate opinions as we move forward. And so we're not trying to make up your mind here. What we're trying to do is give you information so that you can make up your own. And I've made my opinions on the issue very clear, but I don't expect all of you to share them. And I appreciate you turning out today, and I appreciate all of you giving us the opportunity to have this experience. So we are going to cover just a few housekeeping issues. First of all, no food or drink in the room. That was a condition of us using it. Number two, we have boys and girls restroom right across the hall on this side. If you need a handicapped restroom, there's one just through this door. And basically the formatting, we are going to have an intermission probably about an hour in. So if you're wondering, we're going to do 2 speakers, then we're going to kind of have a break, and then we're going to come back in and follow with the rest. There was a little bit of a mix-up with the chamber when we sent out the list of speakers last week. Final agenda had not been decided. It was sent out as the agenda. We're going to treat that as a list of speakers and not necessarily the order in which they're going to come. Just due to circumstance, Roxanne Grimm from the Department of Transportation down in Spokane has agreed to come up here, but she has commitments she needs to get away to later. So our original intent was to enable the speakers to come up, give their presentations, and then hold all questions until the end when we had a Q&A panel. But in Roxanne's case, she needs to leave early. So we're going to go ahead and allow questions specifically regarding land acquisition to be asked of Roxanne and her assistant here at the beginning. And then following that, from every presentation after that, we're going to ask you to hold your questions until the end when the final panel comes up. So for right now, though, I'd like to introduce Roxanne to come on up and get this started.
You guys hear me okay? You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
My name is Roxanne Grimm. I work for...
Be quiet.
Is it too quiet? For Department of Transportation in Spokane. I'm the acquisition supervisor. You can't hear me? Okay. That's okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Roxanne Grimm, work for Department of Transportation out of Spokane, the acquisition supervisor and the OPA coordinator. And what that means is that I regulate and seek compliance with other entities and municipalities within the eastern region. So that'd be Spokane County and different cities and City of Spokane. So we just don't acquire property. I also have to go out and assist other entities to acquire property as well. This is Dee Ressa. She's a relocation specialist in Spokane. And her and I work pretty much one-on-one with each other all the time. I'm not going to talk about real specifics of where your airport might go and all those things because I know that that's really up in the air right now. So I don't want to get into that battle because it's always a battle where you put something. So I'm just going to go through the process as we do it with WSDOT. It doesn't mean that WSDOT will be up here doing the acquiring of the property or relocating. But what you can rest assured is that if it's a consultant that comes in, D&I will be overseeing to make sure that that project is meeting federal regulations. So some of the rumors are that we just kick people out of their homes. And I'm just going to talk in general of what I hear in the right-of-way world. When a government agency comes in, they just kick you out. They don't care what your issues are. They don't care how much you think your property's worth. And I'm here to tell you that is not true. This airport will be bought with federal funds. Therefore, it's going to be bought under eminent domain. We all know what eminent domain is. It's the governmental taking of your property. Sounds pretty harsh, I know. Probably well aware of Kelo versus New London, which was a big case back east. I can guarantee you that won't happen here either. That was for a private entity and not governmental for public use. That's the difference. So I'm just going to talk about what will happen when they determine where the airport will be located. The first thing that will come out of the hat on the real estate side is probably Dee will be contacting property owners. And she'll do a phone interview with you and ask you kind of intrusive questions about your property. You can answer or not answer. But she'll ask who lives in the home, those types of things. Are there special needs within the home? She's compiling information so it frees up the federal dollars. That's all that is. Once all that information is submitted, then it goes into the appraisal phase. And when the appraiser comes out to your property, he doesn't do a drive-by, he or she. They actually come into your home, they measure, they meet with you, they walk the whole entire property with you. It is imperative at that point to describe what your property is, what it does for you. Okay? Along with that appraiser will be a relocation agent. And they are doing their own calculations for moving entitlements and all the relo. And Dee will talk about those things specifically. So it's really important for you as a property owner, even if you don't like the process, you need to get involved with it. This is your property, it's your decision, you need to be involved. Okay? Once the appraisal is done, you'll see an acquisition agent, me, consultant, somebody, will sit down with you and will tell you what the fair market value that has been determined for your property. You are entitled to your own appraisal that we'll reimburse you for. Okay? You're entitled to a copy of your appraisal. Typically, I just make a copy and give it to you when I'm there. Okay? It will be under eminent domain. So, what that will mean is that you can go seek legal counsel. You can go to court. You can determine fair market value. You're entitled to a jury of your peers. And then that is just your decision to make. You get your own appraisal done. It is not offensive to us. I think that's where the rumors start us out. We don't get commission. I don't frankly care how much your property appraises for. It's not that I don't care what it's worth. It's just if it comes in at $1 million, it's $1 million. If it's $100,000, it's $100,000. We don't get commission. We want you to be happy with your offer and make sure that all is covered. Relocation has fabulous entitlements for people. It isn't very often that you sell your property and then get free money on top of it, plus moving and no excise tax. We also understand that you're not voluntarily selling in certain circumstances. So it is really important to get involved with your property wherever they determine to put this airport. Stay in the driver's seat with it. Take notes. Ask for information. And the consultant, or if it's WASDOT, will provide that to you. I'm going to leave some of my cards up here. If there's specific questions about how something might work, you can feel free to call me or email me. Dee and I do this day in and day out. I think we've bought hundreds and hundreds of properties. And when we first started 7 years ago, it's kind of a funny story. Neither one of us knew anything about what we were supposed to be doing. And they threw us in a car and said, go to Pullman. You're going to go buy property for the Pullman-Moscow corridor. Well, we had no idea. I didn't know who she was. She didn't know who I was. And we just thought, well, do you know what you're doing? She said, I don't know either. So I went to the property owner's house, and they said, you're just going to get a permit to enter. I thought, well, I can't be too hard. And my prior background is 15 years with DNR up here out of Colville. I worked out of Deer Park. So I was a fire warden, so I didn't always dress like this. And I met with property owners day in and day out. So I thought, well, this can't be that hard. Well, they were in their 90s. He was actually born on the piece of property. He hated the government. He hated that the highway was going to be expanded. And they screamed at me for probably a good hour and a half. And I thought, good Lord, I can't believe I just quit my DNR job for this. What am I doing? So what I did was I just listened. I just listened to their concerns. And really what their concerns were is that they didn't like the government. And they were all in a big fight with all the neighbors, big wheat field farmers down there, and all fought about their land. Well, I come back to the office, I have my permit, then they decide that they're going to reroute it and widen out the highway even more and take their whole entire property. And I needed to go tell these people that. After he was born there. And I just thought, this has got to be the worst thing in the whole entire world. So it went on for 3 years. It ended up he'd only let me on his property and not anybody else, so I'd have to go relay messages for the engineers. They ended up selling the property. They ended up moving into Spokane. They were quite content because they paid cash for their new house. They actually sold the whole entire thing, ended up buying back the portion we didn't need, and they moved their grandkids into it. So the house is still in the family's, in the family. So the big thing I learned there is that to listen to everybody. I hope that during this whole entire process, that if we end up doing it, you'll be in pretty good hands, because you'll end up dealing with DNI forever and a day. And we will listen to you. It is important. I err on the side of the taxpayer more than I do on government agencies. So if there's any questions, I'll let Dee talk about relocation, but you can ask us specific questions about the process. Okay.
Hello, I'm Dee Ressa. I too am a Stevens County girl. So I was born and raised in Chewelah and lived and worked in Colville, so I can see a couple of familiar faces out there. Anyway, now I work as a relocation specialist for the Department of Transportation. I wanted to talk a little bit about relo today and let you know that if there's an airport involved and FAA is involved, relocation is slightly tweaked. It's a little different than regular highway relocation, but I'm going to just give you the basics so you can know what to expect if we come along and purchase your property. So Roxanne and I work hand in hand. What she does is buy the real property. She buys the buildings and she buys the land. And then I come in and I assist the people to move themselves to a new location and to move on to personal property. There are 3 different kinds of relocation. The first one is personal property only. That means if you have a tractor or some farm implements or a boat in the right-of-way, I'm going to come up and do an estimate and decide how much it would cost you to actually move that item out of the property. A lot of times there's more than one thing, believe me. But I'm going to give you some money to move that stuff out of the right-of-way. Or we can hire a commercial mover if for some reason you can't move it yourself. Okay? So that's pretty basic. The next one is businesses. Now they're a little more complicated. I again come in and I estimate how much personal property the business owner has, and I help them reestablish in a new location. Now I don't choose that new location because you're the business owner and you know your business and where your customer base is and where the best location would be for you. If you want, though, I can facilitate helping you get into another place by putting you in touch with leasing agents and that kind of stuff. Also with businesses, they are entitled to up to $50,000 in what we call reestablishment. Now, not everybody can hit that $50,000, but we try to get you as much as you're entitled to under the law. And a reestablishment cost is something like, say you're paying $100 at one place where you are now, and your next place is going to be $200, well then you've got an increased cost in business. And I'm going to cover that for 2 years. So that's kind of on your way towards the $50,000. I also do things like redo your website, or if you have logos on your truck or something like that with an address, I would redo that. We